So yeah, I think some as people here must know that it's not easy to look inward. It requires a lot of mental courage. We have formed a lifestyle that we always look outward. We look to the authority, textbook, knowledge, and past experience. And we try to make a story based on this to tell us, oh, this is our life. So most people are doing that way. It can be difficult for one person to be different from others, to look inward. It can be scaring because the truth is always shocking. That's why, so even this session is put on the YouTube later. I don't think many people will watch it. And I don't expect any people to watch it. But we still do it because we want to share some messages with more people, regardless whether they want to listen to it or not. Everybody has a mind. And we are controlled by this mind, so to speak, in one way or another. And this mind gives us the view about this world. And how we see the world is basically determined by our perceptions and all sorts of assumptions or illusions. So I will close the door first. So before we start session today, let's play a game. Not a game, but a question we can reflect upon. Is that so? Now here is another assumption. So if we assume that everybody in this room has only 1 day left to live, what would you do in this day? Because you have only 1 day left. You don't need to speak. So everybody will have 3 minutes to think. This is your last day of life. What would you do then? All right, I think everybody has thought about that for a while. So here's a question. So will you spend it differently as most of your life, or would you spend it the same as most of your life?
Is that a question that we should answer?
If you want, maybe you can answer yes or no, or you don't have to answer. You don't have to answer. But if you want to answer, go ahead. It's okay. But you don't answer, it's okay. Just think in your mind. Many people might make this day special. Oh, I have only 1 day left. But why that day? Why is that day special to you? Just because you're going to die, and being dying makes that day special? Actually, we can give millions of reasons to make any day special, right? If we make that day special, it's probably a pretext, an excuse. In that day, people might think, yeah, I can ask forgiveness from other people I hurt in the past, or I forgive people who hurt me in the past. Or some people say, oh, maybe I can do something more crazy. The answer can be diverse. But the problem is that we make that day special. Should it be special or not? To live is to die. If we don't know how to die, probably we don't know how to live. How many of us live a life with the assumption that, yeah, death's still far away from me? But from the day we were born, we were approaching death one step by one step. To die is to live. Die to yesterday. Die to the past. How many of us wouldn't let go of the past until the day we die? if we don't die to yesterday, to the last moment, how can we live at present? If we die to yesterday, to the last moment, what's the difference between dying and death? People may ask, what is meditation? This is meditation. The true meditation. We reflect. We look inward. We see ourselves. We welcome the petty mind. We don't pretend. We don't disguise. Just look at ourselves. The ending of the me is the part of the meditation, the only meditation. Okay, welcome to this session. So this is about mindfulness, and what we just went through is the definition of meditation. And today we have 4 parts as usual. The first part, let's revise mindfulness and the basic techniques we use in the breath meditation. And after this part, let's meditate together for about 10 minutes or 15 minutes to sit down together to observe the mind in stillness. After the second part, we move to the third part. It's a long philosophical discussion or reflection. And today's topic is about a beginner's mind, a fresh mind. Let's examine that little by little. You don't have to speak. You can reflect on it, and you don't need to take my verse seriously, okay? Everything depends on your own observance, not my verse. So you don't have to argue with me. Because if you want to argue, it means that you take what I said seriously. You don't have to, and please don't. I'm not the authority. You yourself is the authority. The nature of mind is this authority. we human beings has created a wonderful tool, language, right? We can speak, write in languages. That's really wonderful, a wonderful tool. But it is one of the most deceiving stuff we have ever created. Is it? Through education, we educate people to be clever. But what does clever mean? It means cunning, petty, self-absorbed. And people are so manipulative. But think about that. If we don't speak language, how can be people cunning? How can be people manipulative? Here is not a denial of languages, but we need to notice it. Notice the influence of the languages. Do you think we are the masters of the language, or we are enslaved to languages? If we are the master of language, actually we can use our language in all kinds of creative ways. But in reality, it seems very different. We only want to listen to good words, kind words. We react to the unkind words. Language put us into this web of reactions. Think about how many of our issues come from the language. Argument, misunderstanding, manipulation, deceiving, cunning, criticize, microaggression. And how many times do we use harsh words to retaliate? Aware of this is meditation. We don't have to say language is good or bad. We don't judge it. But we need to notice the influence of the language on us. It's so subtle, isn't it? We not only do we use words to deceive others, but also ourselves, do we? and everybody is attached to languages, forgetting the true themselves. Think about language. If language is really perfect, what's the point for us to have other kinds of arts? Painting, music, or any other performance arts, so to speak. If we have no reactions to languages, what would it be like? If we don't assume that what you speak represent you, what would it be like? So before we start meditating, we have to realize and accept and face the fact that we are living in a mentally chaotic world. And to understand the chaos of the mind, we need to look within to see the mind, to see how it works, to see it now, at this moment, non-judgmentally. Nothing is about right or wrong, but we need to observe it. Rather than listening to other people speak all the time or reading books to understand it, or any kind of new theories to interpret it, we don't do that. You see, no matter which theory you resort to, or which books you are reading, you are still entangled in languages. But the mind is beyond language, isn't it? Language is only part of the functions of the neurons. How can you rely on languages to fully understand the mind? So that's only one way that we can explore the mind without the languages. That is, look inward. Because when you observe your own mind, you don't need languages. You don't need to verbalize it. You just need to feel it. If you feel it, you get it, right? But it's not easy to observe the mind. First, our mind is overactivated many times of our life. For overactivated mind, it's like a rough sea, right? If you throw a stone to a rough sea, can you see the ripple from the water? I couldn't. But when we throw a stone to a peaceful lake, I think people can notice the change, the problem. So to observe the mind, we have to have a quiet mind, a silent mind. This step has blocked many people from going further. And that's why we need to use some technique to quieten the mind. And that's why now we'll talk about breath meditation. To let the mind be tamed first. Second, to observe the mind, we shouldn't judge, but think about how judgmental we are in our real life. Some people may ask, what is called judgmental? Judgmental means that we make some arguments or judgments, which just go unexamined. So notice that how judgmental we are. Being judgmental is such a strong habit. And think about when you judge, do you still use language or not? Think about the judgment and the language. Third, we don't want the past experience to go. We still hold that experience to understand who we are at this moment. We try to use theories, all kinds of knowledge about the mind to understand ourselves. The tendency to look outward is blocking us from looking inward. Actually, understand the truth is very easy, isn't it? Just observe your mind at present, non-judgmentally, letting go all the past experience and knowledge. Sounds very easy, right? But look at ourselves. What we have done in the past in your life. Now we are living a lifestyle that the truth can be very shocking because we are too far away from the truth, isn't it? The further away, the more shocking. So now let's come back to the basic techniques of meditation. I guess most of us probably have done meditation before, right? Yeah. And there are many different techniques about meditation, which also reflects the diversity of this practice, because there's no real right or wrong techniques. You can design your own techniques, because just as we said before, the essence is to observe the mind. So it doesn't matter which form you resort to in terms of meditation. But here, I only introduce breath meditation because it's commonly used and it works simply. So in breath meditation, we focus on the breath, the sensation of the breath. There are two reasons we choose breath as the meditation object. The first one is breath is very neutral. When you think about breath, it won't trigger you something good or bad, because you ignore breath most of your life, unless when you catch a cold, you have bunged up nose and you begin to realize, okay, I have some problem with my breath. But most of the time you forget it totally. For such a breath, it won't trigger something good or bad. So it's pretty nice for us to observe it easily, relatively. The second reason is that breath is not a thought. Think about our daily life. How easy to overthink. How easy to be obsessed with thoughts. Breath is not a thought, it's a sensation. You can feel it. You don't need to think about that. Right? So in breath meditation, we focus on the sensation in breath to let us not think, but to feel. Feel the breath. Just feel it. For people who is at the very beginning stage of meditation, when they meditate, they still think about the image of breath. You see, the old habits die hard. The way we visualize things is so strong. Even when we sit down to meditate, we still cling to the image of breath, not the sensation of it. So in today's meditation session, and when we do the meditation together, try to notice it. Feel the sensation, not to think about the image of breath. It might be challenging for some people at the beginning, but it's only a matter of practice. Little by little, our habits of thinking will be changed. And another challenge in the breath meditation is to overcome the distraction. When we focus on breath, the thoughts always pop back. The thing we should do is to focus on breath. Don't identify the thoughts. Don't interact with it. You don't need to refuse it. No, don't do that. Just let it be, but your focus is on the breath. And you should notice the breath, this thought in your awareness. That's the basic technique of the breath meditation. Focus on the breath. Be aware that you are breathing, not thinking. And be aware of the thoughts that might pop up to interrupt you. So you say, meditation is a way to harmonize your focus and awareness. And this harmonization is very important for our life. Because most of us are living a life without the proper awareness. The awareness of the influence of the languages, for example. The awareness of our reactions to the words, for example. And doing meditation, so to speak, is to bring this awareness into life. That's breath meditation. So, before we move to the second part to meditate, any questions for this part? If no, let's meditate. I will play some audio guide. We can follow the audio guide together to meditate, and then we come back again for a longer discussion. Right. So how does everybody feel now after this 10-minute meditation? Good? Do you feel that your mind is very active at the beginning of the meditation?
It's definitely more than at the end.
You see, so we have communicate for about 1 hour. Now we speak, but we communicate, do we? Communication has nothing to do with language. You keep silent, but your mind is not silent. You keep thinking and reflecting. In that way, we still communicate. Communication is beyond the language, in a way. Think about you and your families, your lovers, or any kind of intimate relationship. It's a long-term human interaction between you two. You two has begun to get used to each other and understand more about each other without so much verbalization. And when we meditate, I guess most people can notice that how active the mind is, the thoughts keeps popping up. And if we interact with the thought, which is most time we do in our life, we continue the influence of that thought. So why the past experience has such impact on us? If we don't think about that, does it still have the influence or not? We always give thoughts to the past experience. And these thoughts make this experience continuous. Think about a beginner's mind. What is that like? A beginner's mind. How many part of life do we really practice a beginner's mind? And what is a beginner's mind? Anyone volunteer to speak something about the definition to your mind?
I would say that it's a mind that has no past, but also no experience. So it's free of free of the past.
Free from the past.
Yes.
Mhm.
No patterns, just free to be wherever it needs to go, it wants to go.
I'd say it's infant, so it's really not knowing anything really, but it's just there, aware of what is now, basically. So it's
Similar, right?
exactly.
Yeah. I guess people might understand the same. Probably people use different expressions, whatever, but it's the same. Beginners, right? So we just say we are totally new to that experience without any past knowledge or any interpretation or any thoughts. Just give yourself 1 minute to think. In the past 1 year, how many moments do you really have that kind of beginner's mind? You see, it's how difficult actually for us to have a beginner's mind nowadays. Partly because of education. Our common sense we pick up from the society, from the language, from the culture. And the tendency for us to judge, to interpret it. The tendency to not admit that we don't know. Sometimes we pretend to know. something we don't know actually. Think about how many moments do we give thoughts to all kinds of things. Oh yeah, oh it's so common. Oh, how many times do we banalize the things in our life? A beginner's mind is a fresh mind, isn't it? Fresh means the mind is not polluted by your thoughts, your assumptions, the knowledge, the past experience. A fresh mind does not dwell on the past, but a mind to live the life to the full, moment by moment. And this society has driven us to be successful. Then how can we accept that we are beginners? And if we don't live a life at present, is there a possibility for us to have a beginner's mind or not? If we spend most time daydreaming, think about the future, all kinds of planning, or dwell on the past to regret something we have done, in that situation, probably that's most people's situations, do we still have a beginner's mind or not? Probably not. So from beginner's mind, we need to understand a little bit about the thoughts. Why do we have so many thoughts? Does thinking have to generate thoughts or not? If you think and then you have thoughts, is that a must? If we are trapped in thoughts, it won't be possible for us to have beginner's mind, because thoughts has insulated us from touching the truth, the beginner's mind, the freshness of the mind. And a moment ago we said that thoughts also continues our experience. We give our thoughts to the past and make it continuous to now and to the future. Think about our identity. Oh, I'm a scientist. I'm a researcher. I'm a doctor. I'm a dentist. Isn't that identity a thought? At this moment, now, in this room, sitting on the sofa, who are you? Oh, I'm a doctor. We immediately resort to the thoughts to think about that, to continue our identity. You see how subtle they are in our life, the thoughts. And if you live by your identity, can I say you live by thoughts or not? The thoughts has seeped into all layers of life. So subtle, sometimes beyond our awareness. When I say I'm a doctor, this is my identity. I give thoughts that to make that title continuous in my life. And to live life in that way, I need to live life as a doctor. I should be a doctor, right? Because I'm a doctor. So I should be a doctor. But what am I at this moment? I never think about that before. I only think about what should I be. My mind is always on what should be. But do you really give your attention to what is now, at this moment? If we don't care about what should be, do we still have thoughts or not? What should be? Yeah, I should finish this. I should finish this program this year. Yeah, I should make a lot of money probably by the end of this year. Not only I should. You should be kind to me. You should be gentle. You should keep quiet. You shouldn't speak. But not only do we have expectations of ourselves, also on others. You must finish this tomorrow. You must come here again next week. We have so much expectation automatically. We are very harsh, very cruel, not only to ourselves, but also to others. When we become something we should be, what should be stop? Or it's just a simple repetition of what should be all the time, a loop. Noticing what should be in our life, that's meditation. If there's something between what is and what should be, what could be that thing? If there's something between what is and what should be, what could be that thing? Conflict? Greed? Any other answers? There's no right or wrong answers. Just try some imagination. If there's something between what is and what should be, what could be that thing? You can base on your own experience to think about that for a while. Expectations. Striving. Striving. Yes, striving. Strive for, yeah.
Frustration.
Frustration. fear,
Hope.
hope, ignorance. Blindness. Similar to ignorance. Attachment.
Patience.
Patience. Or impatience. Yeah. Appearances. You see, find this gap, a lot of things come out of it. A lot of our mental challenges. Can I say, between what is and what should be, there is time. Not the physical time, not chronological time, but the psychological time. We expect something to happen. We hope something to happen. We are impatient to finish something. We are ignorant. We fear. We have conflicts. Many answers. And this is a time we have on the mind. If there's no what should be, what would our life be like? I think about a beginner's mind. just true over the relationship between what should be and a beginner's mind. What should be has ruined your beginner's experience because you know what should be, right? What should be give you a sense of certainty. A false sense of certainty, right? Because it should be, but it hasn't happened yet. At the beginning of the session, we said we use languages not only to deceive others but also ourselves. Think about that. Oh, I should be okay by the end of this year or whatever. So just give me a sense of security, a false one. Can I say I'm honest in that way? You see, honesty is something very hyperbolic. Aren't we always avoiding what is? And if we are always sticking, always together with what should be, it's not surprising that we can get shocked when we see what is. Because what should be can be very different from what is, which is we are always avoiding. This is our life, a very chaotic one mentally. Look at this world. Isn't also chaotic? Isn't the outside world the chaotic one, the projection of the inner world? Human creates chaos because human minds are chaotic. And this is the Zen meditation. Nothing about religion, sex, ideology. This is Zen meditation. We only mention Zen as end of the session. You can call it Taoism, no problem. You can call it mindfulness, no problem. Probably there's no name to it. I think now is the end of the third session. We can have about 10 minutes or 5 minutes break, or maybe 5 to 10 minutes break. Then after that, we can come back again to meditate. Because now every morning is very active, I believe. So we need to calm down again to forget what I said. Don't take what I said seriously, okay? If you take it seriously, you're wrong. So let's meditate to forget what I said. I know it's hard, but let's say the truth. We shouldn't take anything seriously except the mind. Okay, let's have a break. I guess most people feel very calm now, right? After this 15 minutes meditation. So the final message is, so try to bring your insight into your life, to act on it. For this stuff, it's beyond the consciousness. To change our life, to change the world, I mean the inner world, we need to do it, act on it. Probably you can try to embrace your each day, each moment with the beginner's mind. To feel it. To feel it to the end. Each day is a day. Nothing special. Until the moment you die. If you regard yourself as a visitor to this planet, you only stay here up to 100 years, if you have good luck. Probably what matters most is the experience itself. to die is to live. To live is to die. How to live means how to die. And how to die means how to live. And thank you for everybody being here tonight to make this even possible. And I wish you a peaceful and calm evening. And hopefully see you next time.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, yeah.